Cowboy's life is the life of me.
Kansas City's classic rock station 101 The Fox with Cowboy Song by Thin Lizzy. Slacky with you here, celebrating my retirement and bringing in some of my friends, the folks who I've worked with for many years, friends that I've met through the radio for many years. And I am very pleased to welcome a man that I partnered up with many, many years ago and I owe a great deal to my career to. And he is a legend in Kansas City. Please welcome Mr. Doug Medlock.
Hey, everybody. We were partners. Remember, we worked at that Amoco together.
Yes, and I do owe you some money. I apologize. I'll work on that.
Oh, that night you ate all them Slim Jims and didn't pay for
they
it.
were really good until I found out they were expired. And that didn't do very well.
Retirement. I've got the backgammon set ready, and we'll head over to John Knox Village.
Look at a place over there.
Eat some pudding and play some backgammon and pop Viagras.
Cowboy Song was a song that you, I think, attributed to more than anybody. It got started, and I kind of continued that tradition.
It's my all-time favorite song.
Yeah.
And I used to try and play it every Friday, but the boss would get mad, so I'd play it every Friday. The boss wasn't listening. Actually, that was my old, remember my old roommate, Dave?
Oh, yeah.
When I lived next door to Wags?
Sure.
That was Dave's favorite song. So every night when we had a party at our house, pretty much every night back then, and when we were ready for people to leave, he would put on the Cowboy Song and just crank it up so loud that nobody could talk to anybody, and they would go, let's go, there is a terrible party, and then Dave and I would have a final beer and go to bed.
Sure.
So that became, it's just the best rock and roll song. It's got everything. It's imagery, it's got cowboys, it's got riding at the rodeo.
Yeah.
You could practically smell the rodeo in the song.
Yeah, I could smell something. I don't know if
that might be me. I'm sorry. That might be me. It's late.
My buddy Doug Medlock joining us today. And, one of the things that, speaking of cowboys, you're something that surprised me and probably might surprise some of the listeners is that you're quite the equestrian, you and Patty. And
I'm a horseman.
Yeah. How did that come to be?
Well, Patty got me into that. She's always loved horses, but she doesn't like to clean up after them. Right. So she needed some idiot, to clean the barn and clean out their feed, and I get the hay. Actually, they're awesome. Yeah. There is nothing better for a person than a horse.
Yeah.
Ronald Reagan once said, Will... That's my Reagan for you. No, he said there's nothing better for the inside of a man than the outside of a horse. He was standing towards the front when he said that.
Well, that's probably a good idea.
But yeah, no, horses are great. And I have two great horses. Hello, Willie. Hello, Angus.
Are they listening in the barn, you think?
I don't have a radio in the barn. I need a radio in the barn. I have taken my guitar down there a couple times, and they really, really don't seem to care.
Well,
when I play the guitar.
What do you play? Do you do some of the Snot Rocket favorites? Or
Snot Rockets, we're still around. Yeah. We're playing this summer out in Martin City Pizza. I got all our dates on my website, DougMedlock.com. What was the question?
I didn't know what kind of music that maybe you picked the wrong. If you'd done Cowboy Song, they might have enjoyed that.
Right. Yeah, I was doing a whole medley of Taylor Swift songs about my old boyfriends that burned me.
Yeah, and that you'll never go back to.
And we will never, ever get back together, and they didn't appreciate that.
Doug Medlock, our guest this afternoon. Now, I got you for a while, right? I mean, the booking agent said that you're going to have, some goodies, and we've got green room for you.
Till my anklet buzzes, I can stay out wherever I want to be.
Well, we're going to play some songs that we used to play back in the day, and if you've got some ideas on that, 913-600-1011. We celebrate Slacky's retirement with special guest today, Doug Medlock.
It's the afternoon show with Slacker on 101 The Fox.
Kansas City's classic rock station 101 The Fox with Henry Lee Summer, Wish I Had a Girl That Walked Like That. That's another classic of yours. You used to like to play that too.
I love that song.
It is a fun song. I don't know that he has any other song.
Well, no, he's a one-hit wonder, and now he is working at a... That's funny you played that song. Yeah. I got a story. Henry Lee Summer is working at the Price Chopper in Green Valley, Missouri.
Come on.
I think so.
No.
He works the door.
Really?
Yeah, every time the door opens at this grocery store. Hold on, I recorded it on my iPhone because I didn't think anybody would believe me. Check this out. This is Henry Lee Summer opening the door at Price Chopper.
Wow. Let's see. What's the...
See, it's exactly the same.
Here it is at Price Dropper. Here it is on the recording.
So,
you're right.
He's got a gig.
Everybody's got to have a gig.
I'm not worried about him. He's running the produce department at the Price Chopper. Go tell him, I wish I had a tomato that was nice and ripe, or an avocado for less than $4. And he would go, wow, here it is right here.
All right.
That's right.
We were talking, speaking of fruit, I was, I don't know. There's no
can't
real
wait to hear where you're going
There's
with
really no transition because I want to talk about our friend Enrique. Remember Enrique? He was
I
like
do.
the number one Doug and Slacker fan.
Yes.
And I asked you before we went on the air this afternoon, how did that happen? How did Enrique get
Enrique used to listen to us. There used to be a store. They've changed the names now, but there used to be a naughty store called
Sure.
Priscilla's.
Oh, yeah.
Where fun and fantasy meet.
Yeah.
Is that still a commercial? I hope not.
I don't think so.
I hope not.
And you're not in violation.
Yeah, so anyway, Enrique worked at the Priscilla's store, and when he wasn't selling edible underwear, he'd call us on the phone and go, hey, Doug and Slugger, and he was hilarious. So we would put him on. Cinco de Mayo, he came on and wore a giant sombrero.
Yeah. Yeah, and he also would do stuff for us. I mean, he'd make sure that we got home safely, which was a big
he
deal.
did many things for me that I cannot discuss. Enrique, gracias.
I haven't seen him. We should say this. This is like the first time in 16 years you and I've even been on the radio together.
Yeah.
That's a long time to go. I mean, we could have done an Abbott and Costello. We could have done,
Although it's like no time has passed.
That is true.
We are still as smooth as mayonnaise.
Are we?
Just as professional as ever. There are broadcasting students now going, hold on, let me take some notes.
Yeah.
Because these guys got it down. You get your BA right here. You listen to our BS, you get your BA. FYI, BFD, ASAP.
People ask all the time how we got started, when we got started, and it does get confusing, even for us.
I remember the
timeline.
I remember this.
Well, tell me, because I've forgotten that we started as the Doug and Slacker Love Beer on KY 102 in the midday.
Yeah, I had a full head of long, luxurious hair.
Did you?
Back then, no, I was already bald.
I
But no, we used to hang out at the Buzzard across the street from the radio station. It was on Signal Hill. Then it moved to Westport for a little while. And I think that's where it started. And we were at the Buzzard Beach. And one night our boss came over to the Buzzard and had a beer with us and couldn't drink his beer because he was laughing so hard. He had such a good time.
Right.
And he called me into his office and said, I'm thinking about making you guys the midday team, and I want you to be just like you are over at the bar. So I assumed he meant show up drunk to work. And we had a couple discussions, but, do you remember tie-dyeing the T-shirts in the kitchen?
That was fun. Of course, we made a mess.
That was the Horde Festival.
Yeah.
First time the tour was out, and now it's not Sandstone anymore. It's
Azura Amphitheater.
Azura.
Yeah.
But we decided the Horde Fest was kind of a hippy-dippy concert thing, so we wanted tie-dyed psychedelic T-shirts, and we filled up 5-gallon buckets in the kitchen with different colors of dye, and we made the coolest. We took the white KY102 shirts, but we dipped them in all the colors, and they were all psychedelic. And then you knocked over the bucket of Rick dye in the kitchen, and it literally filled the kitchen floor as a half inch of blue dye. Yeah. And we got most of it cleaned up. Yeah. But it always had kind of a haze to it.
It was a lot like The Shining, I was always really
Were the elevator doors opened?
Doug and Slacker come play with us forever and ever.
Here's Johnny.
I've got one of the other things we were talking about. I was talking about yesterday. I was playing some clips. I don't know, Tuesday maybe, of you and I doing some things. There's so much as I was going through some of these air checks that I'd completely forgotten about. When KY 102 died, we started doing the Doug and Slacker Hangover show on Saturday.
That was Saturday
and
morning.
we really were. We were legit. We weren't faking any of that stuff. And we would come up with the most ridiculous things. And I don't know how funny it is anymore, but we would read the newspaper. You would read it. I just like looking at the pictures. And we would talk about movies maybe we were going to go see. And
Slacker didn't go to the movies.
Yeah, Slacker, because we had Jack goes to the movies.
Right.
Jack did a very compelling,
Well, Jack's a pro.
Well, yeah.
And he actually knew what was going on. So the only way to counter Jack's make wrap up.
And I did.
And so Slacker would give reviews of movies he didn't see by looking at the ad in the newspaper. It's a pretty funny bit, actually. And your descriptions of the photos.
Well, I always look for good-looking girls. You know, I figured if there was a hot chick in it, it was probably going to be at least reasonably good to go.
As opposed to those movies with those ugly girls in them. Which ones are those? The ugly girl movies? They're Hollywood actresses. They're all beautiful.
Doug and Slacker beer show today, at least for a little while, and I'm glad you've joined us. And when we come back, I want to play another Slacker Doug classic or something that maybe that you haven't heard in a long time, because that's what I'm getting. You know, nobody's going to fire Cancer Boy. Cancer Boy gets to play what I want to.
Calling yourself? That's terrible.
Yeah, man. You know, you can get away with a lot. I'm like Bubble Boy from Seinfeld. I'm just angry, you know. And
what was the game Bubble Boy wanted to play? Trivial Pursuit.
Oh, yeah. And he and was it George Costanza got into it, and the rest is history.
Right, so you can't get in trouble. We're going to play what we want.
Well, pretty much, you know, and that goes back to a story that we'll talk about this next break. People talk about a lot of different things that we did over those years, but one of the most standout things was Long Song Friday. We'll talk about that as Doug and Slacker continue on 101 The Fox.
It's the afternoon show with Slacker on 101 The Fox.
Kansas City's classic rock station, 101 The Fox. A classic from Steve Walsh of Kansas. Every step of the way. Doug and Slacker with you here. Celebrate my retirement, bringing in my old pals, talking about stuff, old times.
I love that
memories.
Song. I love that song. It's one of our long songs from Long Song Friday.
But by comparison to some of the songs we played, that was a pretty short song.
Well, what is it, 8 minutes, 12 seconds?
But we were playing stuff like Mountain Jam by the Allman Brothers, like that 22-minute song.
Well, then you could make it downstairs across the street to the bar and back up to the studio by the end of the song.
We did this feature, and we were talking about it last time, that was called, we started doing it at KY 102, called Long Song Friday, and we would see how few songs we could play based upon the length of time. And we only got to do it a few weeks because they changed KY at that point. But we played, what was some of the other ones? We played The Full Thick as a Brick.
22 minutes.
Yeah.
Frampton. Show Me the Ways, 13 minutes and 14 minutes and 13 seconds, maybe.
Inagata Davida. That was one we used to play on Signal Hill if you needed smokes and you need to go down to Quick Trip.
Right. Well, on Signal Hill, do you remember, well, I don't know how many of these stories I should share on the radio. They used to have a cigarette machine inside Fox 4 television.
Oh, yeah.
It was WDAF. It wasn't the Fox back then. It was just Fox.
We were Citycasters Broadcasting, I think.
And I would have to knock on the door, and they had a little security camera, and a guy would come on and, what are you?
Yeah.
Can I just get a pack of smokes? And the door would buzz, and you'd walk in, and there'd be Dan Henry or somebody making oatmeal in the kitchen, and you'd be the rock and roll trash from the building next door, and they'd look at you like, oh, what are you doing? And you'd get a pack of smokes out of the machine. That was great.
You know,
and we cooked our food over an open fire and learned our lessons on the back of a shovel. Because back in those days, I didn't come closer to the light. I'm trying to. I feel 100 years old.
Kansas City's Doug and Slacker, reminding you to be nice to your kids. They're the ones that are going to choose your nursing home.
Sir, could I trouble you for a glass of warm milk?
You can trouble me for a warm glass of shut the hell up.
Doug Medlock, our guest today, as we continue celebrating Slacky's retirement. It's a weird deal. I talked to Skid the other day about just being retirement. You know, mine's more medically induced.
Did it sound like this? Hey, what are you?
No, Slacker, do it. It's going to be a fun time.
Hey, everybody. Hey.
He found a Buzzard Beach where he's living.
You're kidding.
It's not a Buzzard Beach, but it's a place he calls
a similar dive bar with a smell.
He knows it's 222 steps from his upstairs condo to the place.
Wow, when you're walking straight.
Yeah, well.
It's 222 getting to the bar. It's a couple 400s getting home.
Man, before I let you go, first of all, I want to say thank you for everything that you've done, honestly.
I thought you were bringing me in to talk about this Prop 1 thing. Vote no on this stadium deal.
Okay, all right.
Can I say that?
You can say it. I don't care.
It's a ripoff.
I honestly wanted to say, man, I owe so much to you, and I appreciate everything that... I've said this before to everybody that I've had on it. we all stand on the shoulders of those who've gone before us, and we had something really special that I wish that we had been able to see through, and unfortunately, it didn't work out that way. But man, I really have enjoyed you.
I can tell you this, dude. Seriously, Haas. Every morning I got up and could not wait to get to work. And I have had so many jobs that I could not wait to shoot myself in the head.
Yeah.
That to have a job that, like, you look forward. I used to really, really, really look forward to getting to work and laughing for 4 or 5 hours before I had to get back to the real world. It was my escape, and everybody out there was having fun with us and listening along and playing along and calling us. And, it was the best time of my life.
Well, I appreciate you taking time to join us this Friday and celebrate some of our past and maybe look forward to something in our future. If people are wanting to catch you, the Snot Rockets are going to be out this summer.
Yeah, all summer, first Friday of every month. You just go to my website, DougMedlock.com, and I got everything I'm doing on there.
All right. Well, buddy, thank you so much. Please tell Patty I said hello.
Absolutely.
And we'll continue with some more rock and roll as the Slacker retirement party continues.
Yeah! It's the afternoon show with Slacker on 101 The Fox.